All right, so we're up to day 90, and the quote for today is, stop competing with others, start competing with yourself. And I think that's a good quote, actually. It says, do you compare your life with the lives of other people? What makes you feel like you need to compete? How do you think you can be satisfied with your life where you are right now? So if you're following along, just pause the video and take a little bit to think about how you feel about these questions, how you would respond, and I will tell you what I said. So this is definitely pertinent to me right now in the kind of bodybuilding or shred fitness competition that I'm in. Because let me just read what I wrote and then I'll talk a little bit more about that and how it's relevant right now. So I said, I'm not a competitive person at all. I mean, maybe a little when I was younger. It always felt good to make the highest grade on a test or something, but it was never in a way that I wanted others to do worse than me. And that always confused me about people. Like, let me see if I wrote about the green pencils in here. If I didn't, I'll come back to the green pencils later. I would have been happy even if everyone scored the same grade as me, as long as I had done well. So as far as comparing my life to others, I don't really do that either. Sometimes I see things that others have, like pieces of clothing or household items, and I want them, but I certainly don't compare my whole life to anyone or try to imitate anyone's life or feel bad about not having the same type of life as someone else. Okay, there's a couple that I followed on YouTube for a while, and I do like the type of life they've set up. They just built a house that's beautiful and minimalist, and I would like to build a space like that, but I also love and appreciate the place that I have now. I'm happy overall. This is kind of random. I'm happy overall and just ready for school to be over. So I wish I knew when I wrote this. I'm having a guess. It was probably in March when I was kind of like stressed about one of my classes. But yeah, okay, going back to like, so I had a teacher in high school that used to make the class a little bit competitive, but not like in a way that I felt like was that bad, but maybe looking back, maybe it was, but I don't think so. So he would, on every test that we had, whoever scored the highest grade on the test would get a green pencil. And so it was seen as like a big accomplishment if you got a green pencil. And I thought it was really brilliant because if you have a green pencil, most people are gonna like use the pencil, and then you could see who like did really well on the test. But the thing about that is like, it wasn't like just one person got a green pencil and you had like to fight between who had the highest. It was like anybody that made the highest score would get the green pencil. So some days, some tests, there was like multiple people that got these pencils. So in the one sense, it was a little bit competitive, but I wasn't really like that concerned about getting the green pencil and showing off that I had the highest score. But I did like getting the highest score. Like I wanted to get 100 on everything when I was in high school, and I would try to get 100 on everything. And I did a lot of times get high 90s or hundreds on everything, but it wasn't because I was trying to beat the other people in my class. It was that I just wanted to do as well as I could. And then, yeah, I just remember in some of the classes, the teachers, they wouldn't say, in a college, I had a couple of teachers that wouldn't say who got the highest grade, but they would write like the highest grade on the board and then also the lowest grade on the board, just to give an idea of like the spread and then the average. And, you know, they would do the statistics, but not say who got what. And there was oftentimes that I would make the highest grade and I would feel proud of that accomplishment, but I wouldn't go telling everybody. Like, but then there were some people that just had to know, like, who had the highest grade, you know, who got the highest grade. And at the same time, multiple people could have gotten the highest grade. And sometimes it was only me, and I didn't like announce it. I didn't want people to know because I didn't want people to like single me out as like, because I know people are competitive, and so it always made me a little bit uncomfortable. On the one hand, I was proud of myself for making the highest grade, and then on the other hand, it made me a little bit uncomfortable to have people know that I made the highest grade, if that makes sense. Because I wasn't making grades to get attention or admiration from other people. It was just, I'm taking the class, you know, I might as well try to do my best. But yeah, I don't really compare my life to other people. Sometimes I don't think so. Anyway, I do have that one couple that I'm like, wow, the reason I like them so much is what is it? I haven't followed them in a really long time because I go through my phases of following people and then I'll never like watch their videos again. But there was like a solid like 6 months to a year that I went through and I like watched all of their videos, or the majority of them, because they were living a life that was so different than anyone that I knew personally or had come across. And also it was a life that like I had felt like I had wanted to try to live, like, but I just didn't think it was possible because I had never known anybody to live like a lifestyle like that. So this girl had like, so it was High Carb Hannah and Derek, her husband, and they had this channel called, I think Life Inside a Box was what it was originally called. And they did like, I may have mentioned this in another post, but they did like this daily vlog of basically like documenting from when he moved from Canada to move in with her. She had like a normal job before, like a sales job, and she had like the expensive car, and she had a mortgage on a house. So she had a house in her name, and well, the bank had the house, but it was her house. And you know, she was just kind of done with that life. She had made it on YouTube pretty well through cooking and sharing recipes, and had an ebook, a cookbook, and things like that. And that wasn't the part that I was drawn to, because I never thought that I would like be anything on YouTube or make a living off of YouTube. And I still don't ever plan to like make a living off of YouTube or social media or anything like that. But what I did see was like she was not living, like she was on the path at first to like do the standard like American dream sort of thing, have a house, have a yard, have a husband, you know, just be a consumer or whatever. But she wasn't doing that. She was getting rid of all of her stuff. She was going to sell her house. Her and Derek were going to, you know, they were just making plans to, I think originally they wanted to move to Hawaii and get like one of those used storage containers and just live in a tiny house. And at that time I was really into like living in a tiny home or living with less stuff and not having all this stuff that's a burden, because I'd moved a couple times for school, and just owning a bunch of things, what I know is kind of like, I've got all this stuff right now, but just like owning a bunch of things was just feeling like a burden to me. And the fact that they were just kind of like giving that up. And there was also a time like a decade before that when I was working at Disney, one of my roommates, I just was so, I wouldn't say I was envious, but I just thought that her outlook on things, it was so different than anyone else I knew. And yeah, I was a little bit envious. It was like maybe inspired, I think was maybe the better word, is inspired. I was just like, wow, like she thinks so differently from me, and she like is so cool. Like she moved to, when I came to Disney, I had my mom move me, and I had so much stuff. Like I just felt like I needed all of this stuff. I had to have all this stuff with me that I moved in. And a lot of the other college program kids moved all of this stuff into, you know. And she literally had 2 suitcases. Like she didn't bring anything extra with her. She had 2 suitcases, and I was just like, wow, like I'd never like met anyone that just like traveled that light, lived that light. And you know, I had grown up in the South where, you know, we don't have public transportation, And so I had my car with me. I think most of my other roommates had a car, but she was from, originally, I think her family was from, was it Denmark? I feel like it was somewhere in Scandinavia, but yeah, I was just like so inspired by her, like being happy with not having that much. And she didn't have her car, but she would catch the bus, and like she just seemed just kind of free, like of all this stuff. And she was one of the few people that I think was able to save up some money while she was working at Disney, because she just didn't really need a lot. And and that was the first time that I saw that. But I thought, I'm like, well, she's European, and that's, it's hard to have that kind of lifestyle here. But then I saw someone from a similar background to me that was making this shift, and they documented like the whole shift that they were making. They sold her car, they sold her house, they moved to Arizona. They ended up buying land in Arizona instead of Hawaii. And then like they lived in this apartment. And I, at the time, previously had lived in an apartment and didn't buy any furniture. And I felt like people thought I was so weird, but I'm like, I don't want to move furniture up here. I'm only going to be living here for like a year or two while I get my master's. And why do I need all this furniture and everything? And I felt a little bit insecure about that, because who has an apartment and doesn't put furniture in it, especially a girl? And so, but they did that. They were like, you know what? We're not going to live in this apartment forever. There's no need for us to buy a couch. They just got like a mattress and slept on the floor of their bedroom in their little apartment that they got. They were just biking everywhere to get around, to try to save up as much money as they could to buy property and everything. And then everything worked out. They built a tiny home. They lived in the tiny home for a while and realized they didn't really like being that minimalist. But yeah, like that like inspires me, like to see people like living in the way that I already felt like I wanted to live. And yeah, but I wouldn't say I compare my life to others. I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm living in this place and their place is so much better and I want to build a place just like theirs, or I want to build a bigger place than theirs. Like it's nothing like that at all. I don't. But anyway, I went off on a big tangent with that. But if you're interested, I think their videos are still up. I don't think it's High Carb Hannah, but you can probably find it through High Carb Hannah stuff. It's like, maybe it's Handyman. I don't know what the channel is called, but if I find it, I'll try to remember to link it. I'll make a note. And see if it's still up, if they have a playlist of their vlog. They vlogged for like almost a year, just this whole process of them, and I enjoyed following it. But oh, in terms of this program that I'm doing, I was talking the other day to my roommate, and I was like, so the way this program is it's like a fitness program, and it's 12 weeks, and it's a shred program, and they have winners. Like, it's a competition, and the top winner gets like $50,000. It's like insane. And like, I feel like that's a whole lot of money for like a fitness competition like this that's just kind of online. And there's a lot of women in it. It's women only, and they have a Facebook group, and everybody took their before pictures that wanted to compete. You had your before pictures, and every week there's a number of people that are posting their weekly progress pics. And there's a lot of people, myself included, for like the first month I was not seeing any visible changes, or very minimal visible changes, because it has a meal plan and the calories start somewhat high and then the calories drop over the course of the thing. But I wasn't seeing any visible changes. But then I was feeling strong. I was feeling pretty good. I am still feeling strong. I'm feeling really good. But there's so many people, like the first couple of weeks, they just were so upset that they weren't seeing changes. And multiple people, there was some people that saw like a drastic change just after the first week. You know, maybe this was so much different from their lifestyle, like their body just changed really quickly. And then there's other people that just haven't had a change or even gained weight, and they're trying to be like, hey, don't compare yourself to other people. This competition is 100% comparing you to you. So that's how the competition is judged. They judge it based on your first photo to your last photo and what sort of transformation did you make. So it literally is just like you against you. And the coaches keep trying to say that to people, but people, now we're on week 6, and people, there was a bunch of people like the first couple of weeks that were really complaining about not seeing a change. And they were just like, look, it's the first couple of weeks, give it time. Your body is recompositioning inside if you're doing the workout and the meal plan the way it's supposed to be. And yeah, like people are just keep comparing themselves to the other before and after photos that everybody is posting. And I just feel like this program would be, I think they need to like ban people posting like photos along the way, because it is like really demotivating, it seems like, to a lot of the people to be doing a workout plan for this long, for 6 weeks, and not really see as much of a change. But I really think over the next few weeks I'm going to see a bigger change. But I don't know, it is like this quote, like, just thought, because yeah, the people in the Facebook group this week, they were just like feeling really down and unmotivated because they weren't seeing changes like some of the other people. And this contest is 100% not that. So yeah, I don't think it's a good thing to compete with others. And honestly, I know they say that competition is good and it's what spurs innovation. You know, I'm an economist. I know, you know, that's kind of like the fundamentals of capitalism, is competition and things like that. But I don't know, the more I think about it and the more I see like real world applications of that and other things, and they say, you know, sports in school is good because it develops a healthy sense of competitiveness. I just don't know if that's a good thing, to build this like ideology of like everybody has to be competing with everyone all the time. You know, they say it's like teamwork, it builds teamwork, like group sports and things like that, but you're also becoming a team to defeat another group of people, kids who are humans too. Like, I just don't know if that's like a healthy mindset to have. But then I guess the thought process is like you both get better because you're competing with each other. But I don't know. I feel like there's probably a better way to motivate people to get better without making it a competition that you have to like beat these other people. But I don't know. What do I know? Anyway, I'm not a competitive person, so that's coming from me. So, anyway, this is a long one. So I'm going to cut it off here. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow with day 91.